Hi, friend. Welcome back to the doTERRA podcast. I'm your host, Jared Auger, and today we're talking about one of the most iconic and powerful essential oils out there, frankincense. It's been called the king of oils for centuries, and today we're digging into the science behind why it still holds that title. We'll also take a look at how doTERRA's frankincense Boswellic acid complex gives us access to a whole new layer of benefits. Joining me today is the one and only Lauren Bush, our Director of Product Education. We are so excited that you're here with us today.
Oh, I'm so excited to talk about frankincense.
Frankincense really is the powerhouse. You talk about king of oils. You talk about centuries, millennia, really, of use. And as we add in now the Boswellic acid, that compound from the resin.
You know, anything that has that long of longevity as being known as being something that has benefits throughout that many years, you know it has staying power for a reason.
There's got to be something there, right?
Absolutely.
There's got to be something there. So maybe we can step back a little bit and look at it. We're all looking to be healthy, a well organism, right? All our whole bodies. And our bodies are made up of systems, they're made up of organs, they're made up of tissues, which are made up of cells, right?
Yeah.
And these cells are really the origin of all of it, because again, let's do that backwards. If our cells are healthy, our tissues should be healthy, organs should be healthy, organ systems should be healthy, and our organism, our body, should be healthy.
And our cells actually have programming in them to tell them when you're not healthy anymore, you're supposed to undergo something called apoptosis. So our cells have an expiration. They have something that when they're no longer healthy, they are supposed to expire and be gone so they don't continue to pass on bad coding. So it's literally in our DNA to be healthy.
Yeah, exactly. We should be healthy.
Absolutely. And then life shows up.
And then life shows up, yeah. And then throws us curveballs and all the things. And that's just kind of how it is.
Yeah.
So maybe let's talk about that a little bit more. Why would that matter to an individual? I know maybe that's a silly question because we all want to be healthy, but maybe let's dive into that question a little bit.
You know, no matter how perfectly we live, no matter how good job we think that we're doing at eliminating things in our immediate environment, in our routines that we know aren't good for us, there are things we can't get away from. And even just our everyday cellular functions, we put off waste product, and those waste products kind of pass along damage. So you have to find new ways to be able to mitigate the natural impact of just living and being a living organism. Additionally, like you said, if you go back to the core of what we are, it's technically molecules and then cells, right? The molecules chemistry, so it's such an easy communication inside of our cells. And frankincense, the pathways that it plays in is most directly impacted to our DNA. It's to the coding of what the cell was built to do. And that's every cell in the human body. It doesn't matter if it's your brain, it's your heart, it's your muscles, it's your bones. They are cells and they have a specific function to kind of fulfill. So we want that coding to be really good. We want really clear instructions. And again, as we age, it's another set of damage that kind of comes along the line. So being able to remind ourselves of what the actual programming was, if it needs some correction, the correction can be made. If the correction can't be made, reminding the cells you had a built-in fail-safe mechanism.
Hey, maybe you shouldn't be around anymore.
Please don't pass that down to that generational trauma doesn't need to be passed on down. So the cell expires and then that bad coding isn't passed on to future cell generation.
I love that. It gets back to our bodies kind of know what to do. Sometimes messages, certain structures, instructions inside the body get a little jumbled.
Absolutely.
And when that happens, hey, you should move on. Or, hey, let's get it back into line where we really should be. And that's what's really cool about some of the study that we've been doing, the research, and showing all of the interactions that we have across the entire genome. I mean, what was it? 46,000 genes impacted, right?
Yeah. Here in Nicole, what did she say? She'd have to go through like 200 genes a day for the next 3 years or something like that.
To be able to get through all of them.
Just to be able to get through the content of knowing. And that's, again, because frankincense, again, the where it plays, how many different cells it impacts. I know it can sound like fluffy language to say cellular support, but if you remember what you're made out of, it's like having broken Legos or like the dollar store version of Legos. Have you ever tried to stick those like it just they don't build the same things versus like
work.
You get a Lego set and you're like, watch the amazing creation that can happen as everything kind of stacks.
Yeah, every piece has its very specific function and in the very specific space.
Yeah.
And they don't really make many mistakes.
Right.
And that's kind of like our body.
Yeah.
It's programmed, I love that word, programmed to not really make mistakes. And if there is one, there's a fail-safe like you're talking about.
Absolutely.
And I guess that maybe goes into, the uniqueness of doTERRA's frankincense. There's a lot of frankincense out there. In fact, there's a lot of things claiming to be frankincense out there that just simply are not.
If it's $10 a bottle, it's not.
It's just not possible. It's just not possible. I mean, where we get this and the regions that we get it from and the effort that goes in, it's just not possible. There's a lot of things out there claiming to be frankincense or maybe okay frankincense. I don't know. What makes doTERRA's frankincense different?
Well, so we're actually a blend of different frankincense species. I think we're at 4 of them. And again, that changes chemistry.
And I love that approach because we're bringing all that beautiful chemistry that is different across these species and bringing it all into one so we get the benefit of all of them.
Absolutely.
But one of the things that's not in there is Boswellic acid,
right?
So that's where the dual caps, or what are we calling them? The Boswellic acid complex.
Yeah.
That's where that comes in.
Yes.
Talk to us maybe a little bit about that, why that is such a neat combination.
Yeah, so being able to go back to adding the complexity to chemistry, there's beauty and simplicity at times, but when we're looking for something more robust, more systems being touched, and more outcomes, that's when Boswellic acid complex comes into play. So one of my favorite things about Boswellic acid complex is its direct impact on our immune system. And I was actually talking to Dr. Scott Johnson about this because as he loves diving over the research. So I'm really excited what Dr. Stevens is going to share about our own research. But when you really get to dig in the books, he really does an amazing job finding things. But as he was talking about, there are times in our lives where, or many people's experiences, their immune system has wrongly identified them as the problem with certain organs, certain cells. And so it feels like every day I'm kind of being attacked from my own body. And it's not a good experience. Boswellic acid complex specifically is really good at reminding our immune cells, hey, guess what? The thyroid actually wasn't the problem, or this cell wasn't the problem. This system wasn't the problem, reminding our immune system what the actual enemy is and what its programming was to do. And I think that that's one of the most beautiful things as they were looking at women. I think it's like 80% of women struggle with their immune system wrongly identifying something going on inside of them as the problem versus these outside exposures. So as a woman who loves talking about women's health, for a man who loves a woman who has a daughter, daughters, I think that that's one of the most beautiful things we can do is reminding our bodies what they were programmed to do, what they were built to do, a very innate intelligence, instead of feeling like our body is betraying us. And for all those reasons, I love the Boswellic acid complex.
Yeah, as you're pointing down there, I look down there and we also have our affectionately called the Frankenstick.
Yeah.
Our frankincense stick, I guess. I like Frankenstick myself. Oh, what a great way to use that topically and to get that oil in. And it smells amazing. With the Nio added to it, it is beautiful. Nio from our beautiful Kealakekua Mountain Reserve up in, what is that? Big Island in Hawaii is amazing. I love that so much. And I guess maybe one of the daily ways that I use it is using that stick and then incorporating in the capsules, incorporating the oil and how many different ways you can use it. Talk to us a little bit about how somebody might use this oil in their daily life.
I think for men, Deep Blue is usually the first go-to. I think that this is now going to be number 2, if not tied for number 1. It's easy to use. You're getting all the benefits of frankincense, all the benefits of Nio wood in addition to it. I'll just share, in our household, this is a must-have on my husband's nightstand and at the sink. And my husband, shaving, it goes on the neck. My husband, this is one of the few things that he calls his...
I have a lot of shaving to do. I'm going to even use that. That's great.
No, he loves it. He's Italian, so he loves being out in the sun. It's like it's in his blood. So he's always applying frankincense stick on his body. He loves the way it smells. It's very grounding for him. It's very masculine smelling to him. So I say that that's one of the go-to. And then I have a 16-year-old that models after his dad. So if the stick goes missing, it's in the 16-year-old's bathroom. Because I got to do what dad does.
Yeah, I love it. So if you were using the oil topically, how would you do that? You put it on your feet. What are you really doing with that?
Again, I'm trying to directly impact specific cells. So I actually love finding ways that I can incorporate it to cover more body areas. I'm looking for overall cellular health, so you can definitely use it internally under the tongue. You could make up a capsule or just take the frankincense boswellic acid complex, because now you're getting an even more robust chemistry. You could mix it into your moisturizer. I love just mixing our frankincense essential oil right into fractionated coconut oil, and that's my lotion for the day. I love the way it smells. It helps me tune in for the day. And then the stick for other areas that I'm concentrated effort. I want it to stay.
And especially areas that you may not want that to travel, because sometimes it can travel pretty easily.
Yes.
It's a little thinner.
It stays put.
That stick stays right where I want it. Right where I want it. That's where it stays.
You're right. Well, now I'm excited to see. You're gonna have a video of Jared.
I know, I'm gonna have to do that. I'm gonna have to do that. Well, you shared that knowledge with me, so maybe let's talk about sharing with others. Like,
absolutely,
someone who's interested in or has had a great experience with frankincense, which so many of us have. So many of us have had just wonderful experience with it. How could someone go about doing that? Because it is maybe a little bit scary to do that.
Yeah.
But a product that's so beneficial, there's a lot of people out there who are probably looking for ways to easily, hey friend, maybe you should try this.
Absolutely. So I think our frankincense boswellic acid complex, it's one of those ones that within a couple of days you're feeling it. You know that there's a difference. Obviously, as we're working on coating of cells, that can take longer, but you can definitely feel an impact from our frankincense boswellic acid complex. So a couple days, sharing a couple capsules over a couple days, amazing. Frankincense oil itself, just putting it into the palms of the hands and letting somebody smell it in, rub the extra on their shoulders, on their neck, and just feeling the world kind of fall off the shoulders and kind of recentering. It's a beautiful experience.
Yeah. Well, frankincense, the king of oils, what a great discussion. Thanks, Lauren, for being here with us. Thanks, friend, for joining with us today. Enjoy frankincense. It's a whole body solution, whether, we're rubbing it everywhere. We're shaving with it. We're putting it under our tongues. We're taking the capsules. We're getting the benefits everywhere. And hopefully everybody here, you learned something great today. And again, thanks, Lauren, for being here with us. Have a great day.